Yes, good morning, people. You can see me. The lights are slightly better. They're still not perfect, but they're better than they were yesterday. I'm not a ghost today. Man United were a ghost in the first half against Brentford yesterday. We weren't a ghost in the second half. And there are a lot of talking points. As you can see from the title of the video, I did switch it. I was going to focus on the 4-3-3. We're still going to talk about the 4-3-3, but I'm instead going to do a separate video specifically on the 4-3-3 for this afternoon. Spoiler alert. So I'm going to be speaking about everything that came from that game yesterday. You saw my match reaction. It was yeah, thank God a game is a football. Game is a football. Football is a game of two halves. Because United were terrible in that first half and then brilliant in the second. So many talking points. We're going to speak about Ronaldo and why I think Ralf Rangnick was indeed correct to take him off, even if Ronaldo was unhappy at it. We're going to speak about Scott McTominay as a defensive midfielder, about Diogo Dalot's impressive performance at right back, Bruno Fernandes shining in the number 8 role. What about Fred? What about Jesse Lingard to Newcastle? What about Dennis Zakaria? It's the January transfer window. Are we going to sign anybody? There's going to be a lot of conversations here. So I think it's going to be a good show, and hopefully you can see me. Hopefully you can hear me. I think I'm looking forward to this one. Yeah, I'm not a ghost today. Let me go down to the comments here. Yeah, I'm looking a bit dim today, I'll be honest. I'll get there in the end. We've got really bright lights. Now we've got slightly dim lights, but at least I'm not a ghost, so you can actually see my face. Good morning to everybody who's watching on YouTube and watching on Facebook. As always, here on United People's TV, please send in your comments. And look, we've got a title for the show now. United Daily Live. Got that done yesterday. Just fancy giving the show an actual name because we're here every single morning, 9:30 a.m. on Facebook, on YouTube, and I wanted to give it a name. So we've gone for United Daily Live. Good morning to all of you. Good morning to all the members. Good morning to all the viewers on both platforms. But let's get straight into this one, eh? Let's waste no time because there really are so many talking points from that game yesterday. If you watch my match reaction, I gave a bit of detail, quite a bit of detail on what I felt about the game. You know, for United to put in that sort of first half performance was nothing sort of. I don't know the word to describe it anymore. This happens so often, and it's so. I honestly don't have the word to describe that first half performance from United. It was just apoplectic. It was insipid. It was abysmal. It was just everything you didn't want Manchester United to be, and everything we weren't really in the first half against Aston Villa. And then the second half happened, and it was incredible. 3 goals, 3 academy players. United playing brilliant. United cutting through Brentford. Why didn't we do that in the first half? I don't really know. Josh, I can see you there, my friend. Let me get you on screen. Can't find my mouse. Where is it? There it is. Oh, Josh is renewed. You should. Everybody should join the member gang. It's a good place to be. You join the WhatsApp group. Plenty of good fun there. But look, let's get straight into it. I say straight into it. I've waffled for 3 minutes. Let's talk about it. Ronaldo, what's your thoughts and reaction to this? As you can see from right there, I said Ronaldo might be frustrated, but I think Rangnick was right. So this, if you didn't see it, this was Ronaldo's reaction to being substituted, which I don't think should be seen as a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. I want my players to be frustrated. Well, yeah, I do. I want my players to be frustrated when they get taken off. It goes to show that they want to be on the pitch, that they want to play for Manchester United. I don't really think that should be seen as anything negative. And Ralph's explanation as to why he did, not that he needed to explain it, Rashford came off the bench and scored a goal. Substitution vindicated. Manchester United were in this position against Aston Villa and we drew 2-2. And it was not a mistake that Rangnick was going to make again. When he was speaking about it after the game, he said, look, listen, he's speaking, like, I suppose, to Ronaldo. Listen, Cristiano, you are 36 in great shape, but when you are a head coach, you will see the game through the glasses of a head coach. My job is to take the decisions in the best interest of the team and the club. And I hope he sees it the same way. And look, if there's one game that I think I want Cristiano Ronaldo playing the full 90 minutes for, is it when we're 2-0 up away against Brentford, or is it on Saturday at 3 p.m. when we play David Moyes' West Ham at Old Trafford in a game we need to win? I know which game I'd rather he play 90 minutes in. And look, and he goes on to explain it in a little bit more detail. He said, I told him we were 2-0 up and we have to learn from lessons from Villa Park. After that game, I was angry with myself for not changing to a back five. Today was exactly the same situation, and I did not want to make the same mistake again. Boom. Yes, please, Ralf. I've said it all along. I said there is nothing wrong with making mistakes in life. It's how you learn. It's how you progress and get better in whatever you're doing. Ralf learned from his errors against Villa and did not repeat them. What happened? Instead of going from a 2-0 to a 2-all, it went from a 2-0 to a 3-0 game, set, and match, even if Harry Maguire came on and then we conceded a goal. You can't enjoy the full 90 minutes. It's not allowed as a United fan. Those are the rules right now. Those are the rules. But Rangnick was right. He was completely right to take him off. I'm surprised that people are seeing it in any other way. I'm not surprised that Ronaldo was angry at being substituted. Ronaldo is the greatest goal scorer of all time. He's won it all. All he wants to do is play football, score goals, and he probably saw an opportunity to score 1 or 2 more goals there towards the end of that game. So he was frustrated and angry that opportunity was taken away from him. But I think once he would have settled and saw Rashford score, he must have been like, all right, cool. Fair enough. Fair enough here. Steffi, you're saying just give Ralf Rangnick props and move on. Players don't need more attention. Hey, look, that's what I'm saying here. I think is that he absolutely made the right call there, vindicated with Rashford scoring. And how important was that, eh? How important was that goal for Marcus Rashford? We'll speak about him in a little bit. T, you're asking for one full game of enjoyment. That's all. It's not going to work. It's not how it works at United. We're allowed to enjoy the first 30 minutes against Palace, the first 30 minutes against Villa, and the last 45 minutes against Brentford. Other than that, it's a bit weird. There's a comment here flying in, caught my eye. Dion watching from Cape Town. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you all this morning. Denny on Facebook saying, good morning, Sam. That Elanga guy is a really rising star with pace and intelligence. Was a fantastic feeling for all 3 goals coming from our academy players. And hell yes, it was, my friend. Let's move on to that now. Anthony Elanga has been setting the tone. Absolutely setting the tone. That's how I feel about his performance. Just that, yeah, nice. Anthony Elanga got the first goal. Mason Greenwood popped up with the second goal. And then Marcus Rashford. Let's speak about them all individually. Anthony Elanga, how impressed have you been with Anthony Elanga? Really have been so impressed. Oh, impressed? Impressed. You saw it during the summer. When Anthony Elanga, let me pull this tweet up. Actually, I think I did this yesterday. Anthony Elanga, this preseason was always going to be an opportunity for him, wasn't it? Because of Euro 2020, because of players that were missing, because of everything that was happening, it was a chance if he wanted to take it for Anthony Elanga to really make a success of it. And this is what I said. So my quote here is, let me pull it up so you can actually see it. I said, success is when preparation meets opportunity. And this was Anthony Elanga this summer whilst everybody rested. He was out there getting absolutely shredded. Absolutely shredded through hard work in the gym. Out here doing ridiculously high box jumps. I swear to God, I don't know how people do that. My legs are terrible. But that's incredible from him. But that's what Anthony Elanga was doing this summer. And because of that, this is happening now. What I'm seeing from Anthony Elanga really reminds me of when Mason Greenwood broke through. And by that, I mean, when you watch Anthony Elanga, he's taken to first team football like it's under 23s. He really has got the right attitude, the application. Clearly, he's been doing it in training. That's not an issue. That's not a problem for Anthony Elanga. But some academy players, they struggle when they come up. If we're looking at, for example, by comparison, let's compare it to Shoda Shoretire, to Heath Chong. Brandon Williams, I'll probably say in his position as well. There's plenty of players that have come through and taken time to adapt and completely forgiven. This is not me criticizing them. It's just saying that there are certain individuals and academy players, when they come through and they come into the first team, they just look like they've been in a first team player for 6 months already. I thought the same with Mason Greenwood, and I think the same here with Anthony Elanga. He really is setting the tone, and I can't wait to see how his season continues to impress. Because Ralf said he was close to going out on loan. Wow, I'm glad he didn't go out on loan, But he wasn't the only academy player who impressed yesterday. As I said, Mason Greenwood, I would say in the first half, Greenwood and Elanga were pretty invisible, but that was more down to the fact that United simply didn't get the ball to them rather than them playing badly. Greenwood got the goal. Greenwood, smart run, held his run, tap in from Bruno. Lovely. But the goal there that makes such a big difference. Someone there mentioning Angel Gomez there in the comments. I would say that's another player who kind of struggled a little bit when he came into the first team. But Marcus Rashford, what's your reaction to that goal yesterday? It must be such a significant weight off his shoulders, off his newly fixed shoulder, isn't it? But Rashford's really been struggling this year, man. Really been struggling. I don't know what's been holding him down. I don't know whether it's mental struggles, whether it's physical struggles, whether it's a combination of both. But he was a player who seemed devoid of confidence. Devoid of confidence. And that goal, by the way, a side foot finish. It was a powerful side foot finish, but it's nice to see Rashford not putting his laces through the ball and actually trying to pull a bit of a culture finish out of it. And it was a culture finish. And, oh, man, McTominay, I'm going to swoon over McTominay this morning. And I can't wait to do it. I cannot wait to do it because I've had to defend him so often in the comments. And people are like, oh, Sam, you got an agenda against it. Oh, he's just because he's British, you give him time. I'm like, no, I can see plenty that I like in Scott McTominay. And that performance yesterday, wow. But look, go down here to the comments. Chris, look, just what Rashford needed, says Chris. You're right. And Alex, you're also right at this. His reaction was pretty muted because it's been a tough few weeks for him. That's not what Rashford wants to do. Rashford doesn't want to come off the bench and score a third. He wants to be the guy that scores the winner. He wants to be the guy that scores the important first goal, like him cutting inside on his right foot against Liverpool and spanking it in at Old Trafford and 75,000 fans cheering his name. That's what he wants to do. That's where I think he'll hopefully get back to this season. But it's just great to see him getting back amongst the goals because we need goals from everywhere. Our attacking threat has been minimal. One thing that Rangnick has done well since he came in, I think, has made us defensively more sure. But attacking has lacked. Apart from that second half there against Brentford. Maybe not just apart from there. But hey, can we talk about Scott here? Can we talk about Scott? Please. My boy. This is what Rangnick said about him after the game. He said Scott McTominay was exemplary and it was positively contagious. Look at that. English isn't his first language, but you think it would be with those. Exemplary, and it was positively contagious to the other players when we could get some counter-attacking situations. The second and third goals were really good with assists from Bruno Fernandes. I think Scott was absolutely brilliant for that game. And I had to hesitate from giving him man of the match. I did, because Scott's only played in that position one time before. And you'll remember when that was, and that was Villarreal. It was when we played at home in the Champions League. We needed that result. We needed that win after everything that happened with Young Boys. And Solskjaer sort of went for it. He went with a 4-3-3. He played Scott on his own. And all of us were looking at that team going, finally, we're playing 4-3-3. But Scott was terrible. Scott was absolutely abysmal. And the game passed him by. He didn't show enough discipline in the role. He was running in the wrong positions at the wrong times. And we were all like, wow. The only person who was worse on him that day was Diogo Dalot. It's a hell of a recovery for both of them to be so incredible in this second half. Only second half. I'm not going over the top here and saying that everything is perfect and everything is incredible. But for Manchester United going forward, and I'm going to do a video on it this afternoon, probably out. I'm going to hope to get it out around about 1 o'clock. 4-3-3 is the future for United. We've seen it in these last two games against Villa and Brentford. Take the first half against Villa and the second half against Brentford, put it together. If that was one game, it would be fantastic. It would be 3-4-5-0. And 4-3-3 is crucial to that. And Scott, if you take a quick look at his stats from yesterday, fantastic. 68 touches, completed 90% of his passes, 11 possession recoveries, 9 duels, 1, completed 5 of 6 out of dribbles, 4 clearances, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles. And he was involved in 2 of the goals directly, especially that third one. Won the ball, skipped in between of 2 players, then skipped past a player, laid it on for Bruno Fernandes, who passed it to Rashford. Boom. Scott was fantastic yesterday. And I know people want to hate on him. I know that our midfield simply is not good enough to be competing with the likes of Kante at Chelsea or Rodri at City. But that is not McTominay's fault. It's United's fault for not signing the right goddamn players. We need a midfield signing. What we should be having at United is Scott McTominay and Fred as our two backup players. They're more than good enough to be really reliable squad players for Manchester United. They're not good enough. We're never going to win the Premier League with Scott McTominay and Fred in midfield. We're never going to win the Champions League with Scott McTominay and Fred in midfield. But don't just try and dismiss them and say they are shit footballers when it is not true. It is simply not true. They have limitations. Of course they do. I'll speak about Fred in a bit here. But look, and there's a comment there from Malachi saying, Sam, don't hype Scott McTominay. It's boring. Donny is better. You think Donny van der Beek would have done that performance yesterday that Scott McTominay did? You're laughing. You're absolutely laughing. There's a reason that Mourinho gave him a fake award and brought him through towards the end of the season. There's a reason why he was so consistent. Oh, it's consistently played. I wouldn't say he was consistent, but consistently played under Solskjaer. And there's a reason here that Rangnick loves him. McTominay has the right attitude and approach. His ceiling is not high enough for what we need in central midfield. We all know that, right? But to see him play that role, very disciplined, very organised, right position, right time, gives me a lot more hope about the 4-3-3 going forward between now and the end of the season, right? Because I was convinced that it was only Matic who could play that role, based on what I saw against Villarreal. But what I saw there yesterday against Brentford, I think it's good. I think it's good. We all know, right, that Scott McTominay is better as a box-to-box midfielder. So is Fred. Far better than being a holding central midfielder, if you know what I mean. But I just saw a different side to his game yesterday. I think it was impressive. Jamie, you're saying Scott was a powerhouse in midfield, man of the match. Mount saying Scott was decent, clearly box-to-box, loved the shot, and he's not a DM. No, he's not a DM at all. But this is Manchester United's fault. This is Manchester United's... I'm going to have to back... You, sir, have had enough opportunities. Where is he? Oh, no, he's been banned already. No, there he is. See you later, sir. Whoop. Blocked. I can't be asked. I think I'm going to start blocking people now. I love a good debate and I love a good engagement. If you've got an opinion, you want to fire it in, you want to be a twat, I'll just block you. Simple as that. But McTominay fills me with a bit of hope. We still need central midfield signings, all right? But I didn't think we had anybody who was capable of playing. And remember that Brentford playing quite an aggressive, intense press as well. It wasn't as if Scott McTominay played there against, I don't know, a West Brom or anything like that. It was in a very active game, not much time on the ball. He did pretty well. He did pretty well there. And I want to see him build on that. So I imagine now against West Ham, this is going to be tough because you're going to see Declan Rice playing in that role. And we all know that Declan Rice is, I think he's better. Declan Rice has really impressed me this season. Really, really impressed me this season. But no, I was really happy to see that from McTominay. Maybe I'm going on about it a bit too much, but I think McTominay gets so much goddamn stick. I will stick up for him when I see him play well and when he does the right things. And hearing how Ralf Rangnick speaks about him, yeah, if a lot of other players actually followed that example, we wouldn't be in this goddamn mess. Mizo, you're saying Scott was a beast yesterday. Unlucky not to get on the score sheet. Wasn't what he was trying. He was winning the ball back, and that for me is why it was such an impressive performance from Scott. He was simply winning. He was doing what a defensive midfielder needs to do. He was winning the ball back, passing to a teammate. Occasionally breaking through the lines, and by doing that, pulling Brentford out of shape, but then passing to a teammate. And because Bruno was in the right position, because he loves that number 8 role, it just worked in that second half. I don't know what the hell was said at halftime. I don't know why we can't see that in the first half. But United, we need to do it for a 90-minute period. This is a habit that existed under Solskjaer, has existed for so long. We tend to see the best of United when our backs are against the wall. Maybe when we're 1-0 down. We don't really seem to ever want to... We're still a reactive team, is what I'm saying, rather than proactive for the full 90 minutes. Saying that, we were massively proactive in the first 30 against Villa. That's why it's so confusing watching United, because you're like, why can't you just do that and not that? And then the first half against Brentford happens, and you're like, what is this? And then the second half against Brentford happens, you're like, oh, all right, well, great. Really weird, really odd to watch United for a long, long time. It's just a strange team to watch. It worries me that we're still a reactive team, says Steffi. It does worry me. It's a habit that's been there for a long, long time. Nino, hopefully it's the same guy. Scott is weak. Stop hyping him up. You call yourself a United fan. I do call myself a United fan, my friend. And Scott McTominay last night was fantastic. I'll tell you who else was extremely good as well. And let's give him some praise. Diogo Dalot. 16 possession recoveries. 7 clearances, 5 headed clearances, 6 duels, 3 interceptions. Fantastic from Diogo Dalot yesterday. Or Dalot. I keep calling him Dalot. It's Dalot, isn't it? What was your reaction to his performance? And as I said, if we go back to the Villarreal game in the Champions League, that was a game where McTominay and Dalot were both abysmal. Dalot was getting exposed with an overlap on the outside. He couldn't defend. He was getting positionally dragged away from where he needed to be. And Scott McTominay was just poor, so poor in that defensive midfield role. And then we see here against Brentford, far, far, far better from both of them. And Wan-Bissaka, he's going to struggle to get back in this team. Wan-Bissaka, I fear for his future at United. I'm not sure. He just hasn't really progressed enough, has he? Hot take. I remember when I did my predictions for the season, I said he was going to be our most improved player. Woo! I might have been wrong with that. I might have been. I think I was. I definitely was. But what's your thoughts on Dalot's performance yesterday? What's your thoughts on him going forward as our right back? Ethan Laird's really shining. He was on loan at Swansea, and I think they've switched his loan to Bournemouth, if I'm correct. And if that's the case, he's going to be doing a big promotion push. And I'm excited to see what Ethan Laird does. But yeah, Dalot's really impressed. Ian, what you're saying here, sir? My fear is that Scott McTominay will go back to type. I think that's a very fair fear you've got there, because we have seen. I don't think we've seen that sort of performance from Scott McTominay, right? That's the thing I would say is different here. With Scott McTominay, when we've all been excited about him before, it's been the games like Leeds at home, when Scott McTominay bangs in 2 goals within 5 minutes. It's been when Scott McTominay crashes one in from the edge of the box. It's been when McTominay has a really good performance as a box-to-box midfielder. Yesterday, we saw the first really solid performance from Scott McTominay as a disciplined central holding midfielder. That's why it's a little bit different. And that's why I want to see him in that role again. I want to see that same formation. There's no reason why anything should be changing for the game against West Ham. Judged on that second half performance. That same 11 came out in that second half and put out that performance, sorry. So they should be capable of doing it from the first whistle, but West Ham's going to be a hell of a different game, eh? Let me go down to here and see what you're saying. Mizo saying, any transfer update on Zakaria or Haidara? I'm going to be speaking about Zakaria soon. I'm going to be speaking about Jesse Lingard to Newcastle. Don't you worry about that. Can we just appreciate the fact that Rashford finally scored his goal? We have already done that, my friend. Yeah, man. Really happy to see him score his goal, and I hope that can be a line in the sand for Rashford. He can say, right, okay, it's been a crappy start to this season. Let's just say, cool, Brentford, this is the starting point. But saying that, when he came back in, he scored, 3 goals in his first 4 appearances? I think he started with Chelsea away. Let's just hope Rashford comes back in, because we need more attackers who are doing it. Anthony Langer coming through. Ronaldo, let's get him back among the goals. Greenwood, back among the goals. Rashford, back among the goals. Goals from different sources give United more of an unpredictability going forward, makes it harder to play against. And with Bruno in the form that he's in, should be getting excited. Let's go here. Lee, for all those people, for all those calling people fake fans of praising McTominay, you're not a true fan of the club. Well, I'm not. Let's not get into arguments here, but I don't understand people's. You're talking about agenda. An agenda is not being able to praise McTominay after that performance last night. It means that you're so tunneled by your own vision of him not being good enough for Manchester United and him not being the answer in midfield. You can't praise what was a very impressive performance from him. That is what an agenda is, people. So it's ironic that you're trying to call me out for that. Alex, you're saying here, the problem is we still give away too many chances away. A decent finisher would have put us to bed. Absolutely. I'm not going here and saying that game against Brentford was perfect. Far from it. Second half pretty much was, apart from that goal we conceded towards the end. But United just have to do it for a 90-minute period. It must be an attitude thing, because as I said, the exact same team came out in that second half, and If they were wearing a different kit, you'd think it was a completely and utterly different team. Completely different team. And it all comes down to attitude, application. It's why Elanga got that goal. Elanga made that run. He saw that Fred might make that pass and he made the run. Fred with the vision. Jeez, and we've got to speak about Fred. That guy, man. Woohoo. That nobody sums up Manchester United more than Fred, who within the space of a 90-minute period can make you want to bang your head against a brick wall and then jump out, then jump up in celebration. This was Fred. This is a stat from Fred yesterday. Fred's now been involved in 4 goals in his last 7 Premier League games, as many as he had in his first 86 appearances in the competition. Fred is coming up with great moments and horrendous moments. Yesterday in that first half, the overhead kick attempt from the edge of his own box, what was he doing? Was he drunk? Really simple, misplaced 5-10 yard passes on the edge of his own box. I remember one going to Dalot right back and put him right into bother. And then he had to slide tackle to win the ball. Jeez. But then in that second half, Fred was much, much better. Great assist to get the goal for Elanga. And Fred just worked better in that second half. I don't know. Fred, as I said, nobody sums up Manchester United more than Fred. Nobody. Gungshi, you're being polite here in saying that bicycle clearance kick was hilarious. I don't know what that bicycle kick was, but it literally spooned it vertically in the air. It was a Hail Mary clearance that did not work. And it's Fred's, as I said, Fred is like, you know that Gattuso press conference. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. That's pretty much Fred inside a 90-minute game, every single game. Comment here from Thomas. How you doing, Thomas? Can we talk a bit about Ousmane Dembele at the end? No. I mean, we can, but I don't want to. No. Absolutely no to Dembele. My opinion, anyway. It's not what United are not struggling with attacking options. We're struggling with players out of form in attack, but we're not struggling for options. Fred is a joke, says Misa. Man, he is a joke, but then he's great. And then he's a joke again. And then he's great again. I don't understand Fred. I really don't. Jordan, you're saying, don't get excited, guys. It's Brentford. The whole team, apart from Fred and Elanga last night, were fucking lazy and useless. I would say in that second half, you've got to give more credit to a lot more players than that. In that first half, every single player needed to be slapped upside the head. Every single player, apart from David De Gea. Jeez, David De Gea, man. It's like those 2-3 years where he was up. When David De Gea is in player of the season form, you know Manchester United aren't playing properly. And De Gea right now is playing in player of the year form. Made 3 big saves in that first half? We were creating, just leaking chances. Our defense was a sieve. And this is against Brentford, who have been absolutely poor in the last 5 games. We've got to improve on that. We have to. But saying that, we've kept what? We've got a clean sheet against... we've got clean sheets against Norwich. Got a clean sheet. I don't know. We've got like 3 or 4 clean sheets, haven't we? So it's weird. It's really odd. That's what I mean. This United team, it depends whether you got your red-tinted specs on. Because there's positives to take. There really are. If you want to focus on the positives, you can focus on the positives. But you can also massively focus on the negatives. You really can. And Anthony, this is a very fair comment here saying, don't dismiss Brentford. They have given some top teams headaches. They do. In that first half, they really did give us a headache. Luckily, their finishing was all over the shop. Otherwise, it might have been a different scenario going into that second half. And luckily, we had David De Gea in goal. Otherwise, it might have been a different scenario going into that second half. And Josh, you're saying the same thing here, saying, like I said earlier, people think Brentford are just some promoted team. In reality, one of the better teams in the league, chemistry-wise, and how much they work for each other. And it's when you heard Ralf Rangnick after the game, he said, I wanted us to play like Brentford in the second half. As in how Brentford played in that first half. That's what I want. That's what I'm trying to, and that's what he is trying to get across to these players. And it's why I've got belief in Rangnick, man. We've now got a system, I think, that works. So far, he's tried a 4-2-2-2, a 4-2-3-1, a 4-4-2, and a 4-4-2 diamond. And now the 5th formation. He's a manager who would have learned this in a preseason. If Ralf Rangnick had the preseason, he came to Manchester United, we would have started the season with 4-3-3 in our first game. Instead, he's had to learn through watching the players who's saying, okay, the 4-2-2 is what I'm most used to playing. It's what I want to work. Let me see if it works. Worked in the first 30 against Crystal Palace. Hasn't really worked since. Okay, maybe we'll switch that up. What should we go for next? I don't know. Let's try a 4-4-2. Tried the 4-4-2 against Burnley. Wow, it was great in that first half. Oh, no, was it 3-1 against Burnley as well? Was it 3-0? Then it didn't work. Switched to the diamond. That didn't work. 4-2-3-1. The players know how to play 4-2-3-1. That didn't work. 4-3-3 worked in the first 30 against Villa. Shocking for the last 60. That's not down to the formation. It's not down to the style. It's down to there. It's down to player management, game management from everybody. There we go. The first half against Brentford. Abysmal again. It's not down to the formation. It's down to there. What happens in the second half? The exact same formation. What happens? Boom. Blitz Brentford away. The system is there. The 4-3-3, it makes sense. And in my opinion, I've said this all along, this is what Solskjaer was buying players towards. It's what we were building towards the whole time. And we never had the defensive midfielder to make it work. We never had the missing piece. We still don't have the missing piece. But maybe McTominay can be the round peg in the square hole until maybe we actually finally sign that defensive midfielder. I'm not going to strip naked. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to do a video when we sign a defensive midfielder. But we really, really need one. Let me go down here and see the comments here. Truth be told, says Peters, I think Fred's position is more of an attacking midfielder than a central midfielder. He absolutely is, Peters. As I said, when we interviewed Fred last year, I think it was last year when he was banging form, he said, my natural game is to go forward a bit more. He doesn't want to sit and hold. He doesn't. And that's why this formation suits Fred. Scott as a holding mid, Fred and Bruno as the 2 number 8s. Liam saying, I think if we don't sign a solid CDM this transfer window, we can wave goodbye to Champions League next season. Fred's not good enough. Matic is woeful. McTominay is inconsistent. I won't disagree with anything you've written in that comment there, Liam. We do need a solid CDM. I don't think we're going to sign. I don't know whether we're going to sign one. We've got 11 days now. I suppose the saving grace here is we've got 9 days from the West Ham game until the end of the window, and there's no football. There's no distractions. There's no anything. It's an international break, and it's pure focus on signing that central defensive midfielder. 9 days is long enough to do it, right? But there aren't many available. Dennis Zakaria strikes me as the most likely. If one's going to happen, I think it'll be Dennis Zakaria. If we quickly speak about, I was going to speak about this later on, but we may as well speak about it now. This is what Christian Falk said about him yesterday, saying that Bayern Munich are interested in signing him. I think that's probably agent talk. And let's be honest, can you really, at any point in your life, trust a man who's wearing a Union Jack blazer? I don't think you can. I don't think it's possible. I don't think you should. Don't ever trust a man who wears a Union Jack blazer. Just a little life lesson for everybody. But no, Dennis Zakaria. I think if we're going to sign one, I think it will probably be Dennis Zakaria. Simply because of the price, because of the availability. Haidara, we could get Haidara, but Haidara is more of a box-to-box player rather than a central defensive midfielder. And Zakaria is somebody who is very astute at receiving the ball from his defense, turning, maybe skipping past the man if he needs to, and playing the simple ball off. Basically what Scott McTominay did yesterday. And that's all he needed to do yesterday because of how in form in the second half certain other players were. So let's skip on to the next talking point. Who have we got? Oh, yeah. Let's speak about him one more time. Ian asking whether Boris Johnson wore one. I mean, Boris Johnson was stuck in a harness with 2 Union Jack flags looking like an absolute helmet. So, yeah, he probably did. David De Gea yesterday, eh? What do you think? David De Gea yesterday. Wow, we were. As Borat would say. It's mad how much we've got to rely on him still. But at least we've got him to rely on. And I keep rewinding to when I was coming into this season. I was like, look, it felt right for Manchester United to let De Gea go back to Spain, go back with his family, go back with his wife, go back with his young child, and for him to resettle back in Spain. I thought it was the right time for it because we had Dean Henderson coming through. Dean got COVID, De Gea stayed, and has shone. Now, there's parts of his game that are poor, of course, but when it comes to shot stopping, he might be the best we've ever had. He might be when it comes to shot stopping. I mean, you could probably argue Schmeichel. For sure, you could argue Schmeichel. And Van der Sar was, for me, the complete goalkeeper. But De Gea, He's absolutely fantastic. He's in Player of the Year form right now, isn't he? Let's go down here and see what you're saying in the comments. Super De Gea says, Paul, well, you're not wrong here. De Gea was man of the match. He was Superman, says Mandy. He was fantastic. And De Gea deserves all the plaudits that he gets from that performance. And I'll tell you who else. This is a really important talking point, that we definitely need to discuss. Bruno Fernandes. Last 2 games, 2 goals against Villa, 2 assists against Brentford. And how has he done that? He's played in a different position. And this is what Rangnick said about him. He said, I think most of the top teams in Europe and England play in a 4-3-3. I think for him, it's better than being pinned to a number 10 position because he can then make himself available in different areas of the pitch. And we all know that Bruno Fernandes is the king of chaos. He's not a man you could ever properly trust to hold a disciplined position because he loves playing football too much. He's like a puppy, just constantly just chasing, running, constantly moving, constantly making himself available. Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. He's like a ball hog, but he's the best sort of ball hog. 2 goals against Villa, 2 assists here against Brentford. We're seeing with the best form of Bruno this season. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Manchester United have played, I would argue, their 2 best halves of football with him playing inside that role. Bruno's fantastic. We're lucky to have him. And of course, his form's been inconsistent. So has Manchester United. Every player will only be symptomatic of the club they are playing for. I keep saying that. It's something that I absolutely stand by. Bruno has got so much credit with me for what he did when he came into our club. He quite literally dragged, I didn't literally, but metaphorically, he dragged our club off the floor. We were in the mud before he came in January, and he came with this sort of infectious attitude and approach that really rubbed off onto everybody and has helped take us forward. He really did save United at that point, I think, anyway. We desperately needed him. And to see him now, he's got the position he wants, the number 8. He's got the armband as well. And I can't wait to see how Bruno continues to play now, because Bruno looks back, all right? Get your fantasy team out. Because I'm dead lazy, let me check now. Completely forgot about my fantasy team. Who's winning the United People's TV League, actually? I need to check that. Oh, look at that. Got 89. Oh, look at that. Jeez. I had Harry Kane as vice captain. Go on, Sam. Go on, Sam. Have Fernandes. Oh, look. Fernandes double game week. I'm really good at this game. Average points 51. I got 89. Psst. It's only because I forgot about it. Look at that. Bruno Fernandes has been absolutely fantastic the last couple of games. Really the sort of Bruno that we've all grown to love. And that's what I want to see against West Ham. And for me, the reason that's happened is this formation. There's so many positives to this formation. I can't wait to do this video today. I did a formation video, the 4-2-2 explained, the gegenpress, what it would mean for the style. But now this 4-3-3 has come out, and I'm really enjoying it. And 4-3-3 has always been the formation I've wanted to see at United. Always. It allows for 2 proper wingers. It allows for some control in midfield with 3 midfielders. It gives the fullbacks freedom to overlap when they do want to. It does isolate the forward a little bit, and maybe that's why Ronaldo is going to be frustrated in this formation, or Cavani. But overall, it's so much better. So much better for this team. But look, let's go. What was I going to do there? I can't remember what I was going to do, actually. The next one? No, not talking point there. Oh, I can't remember what I was going to do. Let me head down to the comments. You want to join the United People TV Fantasy? You missed it out, Mizo, at the start of the season. Don't know who's top of it. Let's have a look. Let's go to United People's TV Fantasy. Let's pull this up here. We haven't spoken about the Fantasy League yet. Who's top of the league? Alex. Alex is currently top of the league. Glazers out. Nice name. I'm appreciating that name. 1,455 points. He's nailing it there. Who else we got up here? The Overthinker Man. Lance Davidson's. Get your cock out. Very nice. I'll see what you're doing there. 50 Shades of O'Shea. Big fan. Big fan of that name. Shawberto. How am I doing? So, how many people are in the league? I've no idea how many people are in the league. Let's see how I'm doing. Let's go over here. Points. 89. Jeez. Samwise gang. Where am I in the league? 877. Well, not doing particularly well there, but look at that for a week. Harry Kane coming up trumps. Fernandes coming up trumps. What a bloke. That's what happens when you forget about your fantasy team and you never change it. Sometimes it comes good. That's what I was going to speak about, actually. Thank you very much, Ant, for reminding me in the comments about a certain player, because I'm going over here. Varane and Lindelof. The reason I'm speaking about Varane and Lindelof is because Harry Maguire came off the bench yesterday, right? Harry Maguire came off the bench yesterday, and Harry Maguire is at best third choice for Manchester United right now. And I will be angry at Ralf Rangnick if he drops Varane or Lindelof for the game against West Ham. Now, on paper, Harry Maguire is our captain, right? But Bruno was our captain yesterday. I'm not sure if Harry got the captaincy when he came on. Harry Maguire was part of the. Did you watch when the corner came in? He was basically marking Matic. Harry Maguire is a shadow of the man who, in my opinion, was very, very good during Euro 2020. A man who last season might not have been incredible, but he had his moments. But this season, Maguire's just been a ghost, a proper ghost. And I've always said, play players on form. First and foremost, it's all about playing players on form. And there's no way that Varane and Lindelof partnership should be broken up. Maybe I was a bit harsh. It was, when I did my video, was it a week or so ago, when I was saying the players that Rangnick can trust and the players that he can't trust. And I said he couldn't trust Lindelof. I think I was a bit unfair there. I think I was a little bit unfair on him. I've been really impressed with Varane. I think Varane's in the best run of games since he started at Manchester United. I think he's taken time to settle. Again, been symptomatic of Manchester United as a club, but Varane's taken a little bit of time to settle. And I think here, Varane, absolutely on number one. First choice defender now is Varane. Second choice for me is Victor Lindelof ahead of Harry Maguire. And I want to see that stay the same way. And it did stay the same way for Brentford. Harry Maguire was fit enough to be on the bench, but Rangnick chose not to start him. Now I'm gonna go down to the comments here. What do you think about Maguire? Try and be as polite as you can. Try and be as like a proper sentence. Don't just shout at me. Manora here is going same quote for Lindelof. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. That's true. But I would say Lindelof's been building. If all goes well, he'll be the only. Oh no, sorry about that one. We need more creativity in midfield. We need someone who tracks Cristiano's runs. Bruno Fernandes did try a few of those passes, and he will continue to keep trying to find Ronaldo. So it's not as if Ronaldo's going to be completely starved, but I think he's going to find himself a little bit frustrated. It's a bit like you watch Ronaldo, He was dropping deep. He was receiving the ball on the wings. He was dropping on the edge of the center circle. Ronaldo wasn't playing as a pure number 9 inside that formation, because I think he's going to get a little bit frustrated, but it's the formation that suits Manchester United. Let me see what you're thinking about Maguire, though. Maguire in the team was awful again. His defending technique is wrong. He doesn't have the awareness, and he's too slow. So Maguire must leave United. Can't be polite. Sorry, he's shit. Let's have a look down here. In my opinion, I don't know how you're doing that. In my opinion, we saw Maguire, and after the setting period, he quickly realised that the job is bigger than his ability. Plays like a man who realises he is punching above his weight class. Yeah, Maguire's just not been. You can't play him anymore. You can't start him right now. If Maguire's going to come back into this team, it's going to be, I don't know. He's probably going to start against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, and he has to have an absolute stormer. He's got to have a Keir Starmer of a performance. And if he does, then maybe the conversation can be had. But Phil Jones had a blinder, and he didn't get into the team. Varane and Lindelof, for me, both should be starting. And I think now, I don't know whether Rangnick is going to take the captaincy away from him. I think he strikes me as more of a civil person. He's not going to take that sort of approach. But simply put, I think the armband has weighed heavy on the arm of Harry Maguire, in the same way that the number 7 shirt weighed heavy on Antonio Valencia. And remember what he did? He handed it back. He said, "No, I'm not playing well with it." Valencia, man, he was a player who constantly got criticised, constantly, but a player who delivered for United over such a long period of time in 2 different positions, and after a horrendous ankle break against Rangers. Yes, I remember which game it was, because it was horrible. Valencia, man, if everybody had the same attitude and approach as Valencia, we would not be in this situation right now. That's for sure. Let me go down here and see what you're saying. De Jong in, says Skyline. We're not going to pay 80, 90 million for De Jong, not in January, but he would be an incredible signing. Harry is a county player and not a club player. Interesting. I like the analogy there. He has to give up the armband, says Top Dog. It has to come from Maguire here, if I'm being honest. I don't think Rangnick's going to take it away from him because of the impact he knows that would have on Maguire and the way that would look. It has to be Maguire knocking on Rangnick's door and saying, look, I'm not good enough right now to wear this. Let me force my way back into your team and prove myself. And it will be a big ask for Maguire to do that. But he's got to restart his season somehow. He's got to back himself somehow. Because I refuse to accept that Maguire is a terrible defender. He's not. We saw it at the Euros when he played alongside Stones. It was a system that worked. I've seen him at Leicester. I know he's a good defender. But rarely have I seen that sort of Harry Maguire at Manchester United. Don't know whether it's to do with the system, whether it's to do with the confidence, whether it's to do with plenty of things. All contributing. And certainly the armband's contributing to him. But we need to see more from Maguire. And right now, I'm going to be really, really angry. Genuinely, not really, really. I'm just going to be genuinely angry if Rangnick decides to drop Lindelof and bring Maguire in to play West Ham. I don't think Lindelof deserves it. I don't think Varane deserves to be dropped. And I don't think Maguire deserves to come back into the team either. It's a bit of a win-win. Not win-win, but it's a bit of a no-brainer situation as far as I'm concerned. Just going to be interesting to see how Rangnick manages that situation. Let me go down here. Overproduction of content in Manchester United leads to reckless opinion. I'm not sure I'm being reckless here, Lord Nelson. Sorry, Lord. I've stopped doing them. Maguire needs to be rested until the end of the season. Start next season leaner and hungrier. I mean, he won't be. Of course, he won't be rested until the end of the season, but he's got to refine himself. Like Rashford coming off the bench there, boom, gets a goal. Rashford's now giving himself the platform to go, right, okay, it's been really bad for me to start the season. Let's forget all of that. And let's say the season started against Brentford. Got one game, one goal. Boom. Let's kick on. Let's get another against West Ham. See what happens. That's what Rashford's going to be doing. And that's what Maguire needs to do. And Maguire, when he came on for the last 20, let's be completely honest, Maguire was just, he didn't fill you with confidence. You're 2-0 up, when he came on. You want him to come up and shore the defence up. Win those headers. Be physical. Do what he's good at. And instead it was slow and shaky. Yeah, it was slow and shaky. Salim's right. Yeah, Maguire was slow and shaky. That's the way I would describe that performance from him from the bench. And it's not what you need to see if Maguire's going to force his way back into the team. He was given the opportunity yesterday. I don't think he took it. One thing I have to say quickly before we move on here to talk about Jesse Lingard. How mad was Brentford's manager interview, Thomas Frank? He properly pulled the shotgun out and just started spraying. He just started shooting at absolutely everybody after that game yesterday. Manchester United are unbelievably lucky. I know all the crap about taking chances. They changed the system against little Brentford. Well, we didn't change the system. We used the same formation that we used against Aston Villa. And yeah, you didn't check your chances. And yeah, it was like, yeah, you battered us in the first half. You battered us 0-0. That is the worst battering I've ever going to see in my life. Brentford had their chances. Brentford did not take those chances. And it was really, really odd, that interview from him yesterday. Didn't really do himself any favours. I don't think he looked very well after that. Not like he'd just been on the booze all the game. Gungshi, how you doing, buddy? Saying, what do you think of Telles last night? I thought it was impressive. Telles, for me, has really come on in the last, what would we say, like 4 or 5 games? I think so. Starting to see more of the Porto Telles. Really going down the left-hand side. There was one particular moment where Telles, I think it was United on a counter, and Bruno did a lovely round-the-corner pass. Telles overlapped, ran there, but was stuck in a cul-de-sac with 3 defenders, turned back, and then just turned straight back, won a foul. Brilliant. Really good, smart play, I think, from Telles yesterday. And remember as well, when we were from a corner, they were hitting on the counter-attack. Why is it we only have one player back from a corner? What are we doing? We're mad. Anyway, Telles sprinting back, winning the ball back. Good deliveries, fierce, whipped, left-footed deliveries. I back Ronaldo to score a header off a Telles cross very, very soon. Telles is impressed. Dalot is impressed, and that's what's keeping Shaw and Wan-Bissaka out of the team. I love competition, man. Competition is everything in football. Competition is everything in sport. If you've got a player who knows that they can play as bad as they want to play, and they don't get shifted out. I think Fred can fall into that category a little bit. I think McTominay can fall into that category a little bit. Plenty of players can. But when you've got proper competition for places, Shaw and Telles, that's Telles' arrival I think, was the big reason, the big shot on the arm for Luke Shaw, and that's where his form came from last year. Competition is everything. It's needed for the mentality of a professional. Say, right, I've really got to keep myself at a high level, because if I'm not, I know that player below me is going to take my place. Lots of you are asking here about what's going on with Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho yesterday, he was given a leave of absence by Ralf Rangnick to attend a family funeral. My condolences to Sancho and his family. That's why Sancho wasn't in the squad. And Sancho's had he's had a really struggling time. But all United fans and all United players and Rangnick and everybody needs to do is just put an arm around the shoulder and just give him continued support. Just continue to support him, because at some point, Sancho's going to explode like a coiled spring. And he's going to start getting assists left, right, and centre, and goals. And that I've got absolutely zero doubt about. So I'm not worried about him. His form's been poor. So is Rashford's. Am I worried about that? Yeah, I'm probably more worried about Rashford's form, if I'm being completely honest. Sancho will come good, man. Sancho will come good. That's my opinion on that situation. He disrespected Brentford. He's talking about Thomas Frank again by saying little Brentford. They worked hard to get into the look. Here's Thomas Frank. I know plenty of Brentford. I know some Brentford fans, and they all love him. And clearly, he's done a great job at building something there. But I suppose it is little Brentford. But Brentford have been one of the most impressive teams that have come up, for sure. Better than Norwich. Jesus Christ. Go down here. No spamming in the chat, says Ian. Yeah, you're right there. No spamming in the chat. Anybody who's got any real questions they want to ask me, fire them in. Hey, look, I haven't even said this yet, but if you are still here, please consider dropping a like on the video. I know you're watching it, and sometimes I can't be asked, but can you just drop a like on the video? It really does help. The more likes we get, the more engagement, the more eyeballs we'll get, the bigger we'll grow, and we'll all get more giveaways. I've still got those 5 shirts. Oh, yeah, forgot about these. So we've still got these. Still got 3 or 4 of these, I think, to give away. Going to be giving one away tomorrow in tomorrow's interactive stream. Friday, baby. Get the map up. Get everyone up. So I've got those, and I've still got 5 of these. Let me get these out. Oh, baby. I still need to figure out. I was going to do this during Christmas, wasn't I? Then I got COVID, so I couldn't. I've got 5 Cantona shirts to give away. I've got the 5 Cantonas, and I've chosen 5 different kits. That one might be my favorite. Maybe I won't give that one away. Will I? Yeah, I probably will. I don't want to, though. 5 Cantona shirts to give away. Ronaldo shirts to give away. All you got to do, just become a member of the channel, either on YouTube or Facebook. It's your way of supporting the community, helping United People's TV grow. And as I said, more giveaways galore. It's what I do. I'm just happy after that game yesterday. After watching the Villa game, after watching the first half against Brentford, I'm like, when's the penny going to drop? And the penny dropped in the first half against Villa. It dropped in the second half against Brentford. Anuj here with a question saying all 5 to 1. Of course it's going 5 different guys. It's got 5 different guys, 5 different girls. It's going to go to 5 different people. I don't know when that giveaway is going to happen, because I need to think of a right way to do the giveaway. If you've got any ideas for it, let me know in the comments. But let me go down here and see what you're saying. Legendary shirts, says Julian. Oh, they're cracking. There's some absolute pearlers down there. We've got that one with Cantona on the back, which is an absolutely gorgeous. Let's get that one out. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Look at this beauty. This is an absolute pearler. The shirt with the laces on. How can you not like that shirt? Absolutely gorgeous. And there's the man himself. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to do giveaways for those, but I don't know what they're going to be yet. But look, isn't the lighting better? You can actually see me. Isn't it better? But no, the new lights are still haven't arrived yet. So we're not completely finished. We're not completely finished, but don't worry about that. Anuj, that's a terrible idea. Maybe you're going to be exempt from winning this one for such a selfish idea. Only mods giveaway. That's not going to happen. RC1 saying, wait for Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes in a 4-3-3. Ooh-wee. Mate, look, that's we might have to get excited about that. Look, I've said I've had my say on Paul Pogba and all that situation. Jeez, and the whole thing that's going on. But I think it would suit Manchester United far more now to have a Paul Pogba that's in incredible form. Even if he's putting himself in the shop window, it would benefit United to have him back, Pogba back in the Champions League with Bruno Fernandes playing as a 2 number 8s with Ronaldo up front, Sancho on the wing, or Elanga on the wing, or Greenwood on the wing, or Rashford on the wing. Something can be done there. Something can be done there. Oh, that's a nice little stat there. Paul is saying that green and gold shirt is the one I wore to my first United match in '93. That's cool. I'm trying to remember which. I can never remember what game it was, but my first United game was, I think it was an FA Cup game. It was 0-0, obviously, and Gary Neville hit the post. I can never remember. I can't remember what happened on the replay, but I think it was like a blitz of a replay. But that was my first game at Old Trafford. I remember that. Nick, what are you saying here? Eric Ramsey, a real miracle worker, by the way. Wow, you're just being polite there. Geez, Man United, what is it, 109 goals, 109 corners we've now had without scoring a goal? How? How are we that bad? How can you be that bad at corners when you've got a team that's got Ronaldo in, Varane in, Pogba in, who hasn't played, McTominay in, Maguire in? It makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Alex, I think I heard about. So apparently what was happening yesterday, the guys were trying to fix the bell, but they decided to do that during the live stream, and they didn't fix it. It's ironic. It's ironic. Great show, Sam says. Alan, thank you very much. Hey, look, I'm really glad to be back. As I said, it's been a really long few weeks. All the momentum zapped out of the channel. All the momentum that was building. I was so excited about Rangnick. I was so excited about what was going forward. And then I got COVID and everything happened, blah, blah, blah. Sod it. It's in the past. Let's concentrate going forward. I'm hoping there's going to be some activity in the next, 11 days? And we've got 9 days where there's no football and it's just transfer. So I'm going to be doing at least one transfer daily show, maybe 2. It's going to be exciting. Menos, your first game at Old Trafford, Rojo scored and Ibra missed a penalty. Ended 1-1. Nice. Nice. Did I hear that Chelsea have started scoring? Yeah, I think Chelsea have scored from more set pieces this season than any other team in the Premier League. It's really weird. It's really, really odd. Let's go up here. Read a few more of your comments out here. With Bruno playing as a better as a number 8, why not try Donny as a 10? And Scotty Fred as a CDM or sign a proper number 6, says Aussie. Now, I think this this formation certainly, for me, gives more credence to the idea that Donny van de Beek should be starting. Because that number 8 role perfectly suits him. Perfectly suits him. And something I've always said about this, I'll wrap up with this one. With Donny van de Beek, I put him in the same category that I put Shinji Kagawa. And the reason I say that is because I think Kagawa was brought in by Fergie as a replacement for Rooney, because Fergie and Rooney were getting towards like a crescendo. It was either going to be Fergie or Rooney that left, and we didn't know that Fergie was retiring at that point. And then we thought Rooney was going to leave, and Kagawa would have taken that role. Instead, Fergie stayed. Rooney stayed. Kagawa had no place inside that team. Struggled, sold. I think Donny van de Beek is the same thing with Paul Pogba. I think we absolutely brought him in with the vision that Paul Pogba was going to be leaving. Then coronavirus happened, and we couldn't sell Paul Pogba, and he's been here for 2 years longer than probably I think the club expected. And therefore, Donny van de Beek has not had a sniff in the team. I think that's pretty much. It's a sad situation for Donny, but I think that's the truth of what's happened. But even when Pogba's been out of the team for a couple of months, Donny can't get in now. I'm gutted for him. I am gutted for him, but let's try not to get too upset about it anymore. Otherwise, you might cry. Go down here, read a couple more of your comments. Dave saying, can you explain why we don't? No, I cannot explain why we don't score from corners, Dave. It blows my bloody mind. Abby saying, my dream is to watch United play at Old Trafford. I hope it comes true. I hope it comes true for you, my friend, as well. But look, I've enjoyed that show this morning. It was very nice. I think you'll agree the microphone sounds a little bit better. I think you'll agree the lighting is better than it was yesterday. But the lighting will still get a bit better. Don't worry about that. I'm looking forward to organising the giveaways. Trust me, I'm working on some new content strands. United People's TV is going to get bigger, better and sexier in January and in February, baby. And hopefully we can start winning games like we did in that second half against Brentford. But thank you very much for joining in this morning. Make sure you check my video out. I'm going to try and get it out for about 1 p.m. I'm going to be taking a look at the 4-3-3 Going to explain the formation, explain what we've seen against Villa and what we've seen against Brentford and what we can do going forward and maybe how Pogba comes into that. It's an important video to do, so please make sure you watch that. Drop a like on this video if you're new. Yeah, man, it's good to be back. It's good to be back winning games again. Let's just pretend that first half didn't happen, all right? Much easier if you do that. Take it easy, everyone.